Hey everybody, welcome back to a little Jays talk. A lot of back and forth scoring in this one as the Blue Jays end up winning 11-7 over the Athletics. I want to call them the Oakland Athletics, but I guess it's the Athletics of Sacramento or something like that now. Anyways, a bit of a revenge game for Chris Bassitt against one of his old clubs. Didn't really go his way. Bit of an odd one there as his stuff looked pretty good. His velocity looked good. The first inning he looked sharp, and then he had a tough outing, but they had mentioned early on in the game that he had the fourth lowest run production, like run support. So he was due for a good backing in a game finally, and he got it in this one as he gets a win where he likely didn't deserve it. Like I mentioned, back and forth, a lot of scoring. Starts off in the second inning with Chris Bassitt pitching. The Athletics get Tyler Soderstrom, home run to center field, 404 feet, 1-0 Athletics. He then walks Langoliers and then gets Alexander to strike out before Davidson grounds into a double play. But the Blue Jays answer right back in the bottom of the second with Jeffrey Springs on the mound, probably the Athletics' best pitcher. Ernie Clement leads off with a double to center field, absolutely roped. Barger then walks. Miles Straw comes through with a clutch single, scoring Clement. Straw moves up and Barger moves up to third. And Lucas grounds out to shortstop before Bo Bichette walks. Vladdy Guerrero Jr. walks, scoring a run as Barger scores, making it 2-1 Blue Jays. Springer then hits a sac fly, making it 3-1 before Kirky walks and Varsho strikes out, ending the inning. So 3-1 Blue Jays through two. And Oakland answers right back in the third. They start out with two strikeouts as Evans and Clark strike out before Butler walks and steals second, and Wilson singles to center field, making it 3-2 Blue Jays. Bottom of third, Blue Jays then answer that right back. Where have we heard this before? Ernie Clement homers to left center field, and Ernie Clement is on fire right now, especially against lefties. When he's swinging out of his shoes the way that he is on some of these pitches, he's hitting them over 100 miles an hour, and he's hit this one 404 feet to left center field. Just unreal stuff from him lately, and he's showing a bit of a different aspect to his game where he is getting the exit velos and the distance on some of these balls. The home runs he hit last year a lot of the time were wall scrapers. He's actually hitting some no-doubters this year, which is really cool to see. Addison Barger walks after him before Miles Straw hits a double, scoring him, making it 5-2 Blue Jays. And then Nathan Lucas reaches on an infield single, scoring Miles Straw, making it 6-2. They go to Spence out of the pen here as the Blue Jays chase the Athletics ace in the third inning. And Spence comes in and gets Bichette, Guerrero, and Springer to all fly out, ending the inning. But it is now 6-2 Blue Jays. So at this point, we pretty much thought the game was over just because the Athletics bats have been getting silenced more or less by the Blue Jays pitching, and Bassitt looked all right still at this point, but it didn't turn out to be the case. In the fourth, Soderstrom flies out before Langoliers hits a home run, making it 6-3. He gets out of it after that. Spence is still in for the Athletics. He shuts us down, and then in the top of five, they answer back again with the Athletics, that is. As they start out with an Evans ground out, Clark singles, Butler singles, Wilson strikes out, so you've got 2 on, 2 out, and Brent Rooker hits a double to right field. There were a lot of people calling for a pitching change here, as this made it 6-5, and they definitely were well within their rights to pull Bassitt at this point, but they kept him in. Soderstrom gets hit by a pitch, and then Langoliers flies out. So they end up getting out of it, keeping it 6-5, get the 5 innings out of Bassitt. He earns the win by staying in for 5 innings, but it was definitely tight there. And, like I said, they were well within their rights to go to the bullpen at that point in time because Bassitt looked like he was really losing it. Spence still pitching in the bottom of the fifth for the Athletics, and he walks Miles Straw to lead off the inning. Straw then steals second. Lucas flies out, Bichette flies out, Guerrero's intentionally walked, so you're thinking, great, they've made it through the heart of the order, the guys that you feel really good about producing. Springer comes clutch, though, as Sterner comes in to pitch for the Athletics. Springer singles to center field, Straw scores, Guerrero Jr. moves up to third base, and Kirky singles to right, with Guerrero Jr. scoring and Springer scoring, making it 9-5 Blue Jays at this point. Varsho then grounds out, but through 5 innings, you've got a 9-5 lead. You're feeling really good about it. You're getting into your bullpen. We know how solid our bullpen's been. And sure enough, Fluharty comes in, has a clean inning. Holman comes in to pitch for the Athletics, as we're seeing their entire bullpen in these games. Clement grounds out, and then Addison Barger hits an absolute no-doubter to right field. And when Addison Barger connects, it is one of the coolest things I've ever seen because he swings so hard. And you know what? He's like the exit velocities and everything like that. You could see it on Vladdy's face when he hit this one. Vladdy was just kind of like, oh, I got some competition here for, hardest hit balls on this team. 406 feet to right field, an absolute no-doubter. Makes it 10-5. Straw then lines out. Nathan Lucas doubles. Bo Bichette singles, scoring Lucas. Guerrero Jr. is walked again. Ferguson comes in to pitch for the Athletics, and Springer flies out, but is now 11-5 Blue Jays. So much like the 6-2 lead, we thought 11-5, this game has got to be over. We're heading into the 7th inning. We've got, a good group of relievers down there. This one's pretty much done. Wyrod comes in, does his job. Ferguson's dealing for the Athletics. Little comes in, does his job. And there's no more scoring until the top of the 9th when Chad Green comes in, and he has a bit of a rough outing here. He strikes out Alexander, Davidson grounds out, Andahar doubles to center field, and then Clark singles him home, making it 11-6, before Butler doubles, scoring Clark, making it 11-7. Luckily, he gets Wilson out after that. They had Jeff Hoffman up throwing lightly. It would have been a real shame if Jeff Hoffman had to come into this one, as we scored 11 runs. You need to win these games without burning everybody in your bullpen, and ultimately we got that done. It looked like Jeff Hoffman had only really just played some light catch, so it wasn't like he got ramped up or had any workload put on. So, you know what? A bit of a crisis averted there, not having to burn your closer in this one. So 11-7. Good game. One thing that I did want to show here is I will bring this up now, and I will hide this. So, Chris Bassitt here, I'll just drag this actually over myself so you can see it, threw 7 different pitches, and as you can see, he did a pretty good job of peppering the strike zone. And one thing I just wanted to kind of highlight was, it says in his Savant page, there's a bit of a miscommunication here between the box score and the Savant page, as Savant says he let up 6 hits, and ESPN's app says he let up 7, but either way, he did a good job of peppering in 7 different pitches into the strike zone. Ultimately, you can see some of those sinkers and cutters were kind of left middle, which is probably the difference maker here from his other outings where he's looked so sharp. He had the velocity, he had the movement, but he was just missing middle a little bit too much, especially in some like 2 strike counts and 1 strike counts and things like that. But yeah, what I wanted to highlight was he only let up 14 balls in play. And whether you go with the 6 or the 7, that means they were hitting about 500 with batting average with balls in play, which is abnormally high. So his ultimate line there of letting up the 5 runs on 7 hits, it does look quite bad, and it's not good enough for sure. But Bassitt ultimately did pitch relatively well in this one, and it does look like he got a bit of bad luck with the batting average on balls in play, as 500 would be astronomically high and unsustainable. No team would ever run that kind of number moving forward. So you know what, tough outing by Bassitt, but maybe there's some underlying stats there that kind of back up that he was a little bit sharper than the end result. Either way, good for him to finally get some run support, get a win that he probably didn't deserve after getting losses earlier in the year on games that he should have won. And that's just kind of how baseball is. It balances out over the course of 162 games. Anyways, let me know what you guys thought about the game. Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear from you guys. We'll talk to you later. Have a good one.